Welcome to the new earth. New earth, you say. Where is it? Enlightened ideas and the changes that follow them must first enter individual awareness and integrate before they can become a state of consciousness able to manifest outwardly. Not understanding this is why so many have become discouraged as they observe chaos and believe that nothing is happening. The integration process has been taking place on personal and global levels for some time and is now beginning to manifest outwardly. Remember, there is no unexpressed consciousness. Ascension is not a sudden flash wherein everything is suddenly different. This does occasionally happen with certain individuals who are well prepared, but in general evolution is a process, one that you are well into now. The third dimension functions in linear time, and so events are unfolding in sequence as collective consciousness becomes more enlightened, each day more awakened, and recognize that many commonly accepted world beliefs are obsolete and false. This is what will usher in the new. Trust that everything is exactly where it needs to be at all times, dear ones. Your job is to hold the light of truth within and see the light without in spite of appearances. We wish once again to speak of love. We have spoken of love and its many disguises in other messages, but it bears repeating because love is the core reality holding everything together as one. Every discord or disharmony experienced throughout time globally and personally is and always has been the expression of beliefs in separation from self, God, others, animals, plants, in any and all life forms. There is not now, never has been, and never can be separation from the One except as a concept held in unawakened minds. There is only one substance, one law, one reality, and one source from which all things are formed. Omnipresent, omnipotent, and omniscient divine consciousness. You cannot make something out of nothing. How individuals interpret this depends on the level of their awareness and personal belief system, which will manifest as their life experiences. You may say, yes, but what about those who are very evolved and have painful and devastating experiences? These dear ones have chosen to be right where they are learning, growing, releasing old programming, honoring their soul contract, and fine-tuning everything in order to be ready for their next and higher level of awareness. Because of the powerful light energies now on and flowing to Earth, many evolved souls chose to come and make these times their wrapping up all remaining old stuff lifetime, which may appear to human eyes as a series of failures. Never judge another's life experiences, for many are angels in disguise even to themselves. There is an energy connecting all life forms because in reality they are all simply individual expressions of the One. This connecting energy is called love. However, when interpreted through an unevolved state of consciousness, one that is fully immersed in beliefs of duality and separation, the manifestations appear as war, rape, abuse, etc. The One has not and can never change. It is the unawakened mind's false interpretations that are manifesting. Many continue to ask, how could God allow these things? God knows nothing about these things. They exist only in the conditioned minds of the hypnotized, unawakened. If these things, disease, war, violence against others and animals, were embraced within divine mind, they would remain in place forever, held by divine law. The negative situations you see in the world are the manifestations of collective ignorance, false interpretations of reality, truth, and oneness. You are creators. The time has arrived in which all serious students of truth must be alert to thoughts of judgment, criticism, and separation about themselves and others that are so easy to allow in at this time. Know that random thoughts are always impersonal, floating about and available in universal three-dimensional consciousness until personally claimed as yours. Utilize the thoughts that seem to continually bombard your thinking as tools directing you to remaining false beliefs and concepts still being held. Energy always seeks to align with like energy oneness. Repeating thoughts are simply doing their thing, drawn to and aligning with like energy. Example, a person who has experienced lifetimes of disease and illness will automatically draw to themselves energies regarding disease, current information, symptoms, etc. Anything floating about in universal human consciousness regarding illness and disease until they are able to clear this old programming. They won't accept everything, but the temptation and attraction continues as long as there is energy alignment. This is true for all types of energy carried by individuals. Becoming more aware of judgment and criticism does not mean that you accept, condone, or go along with the nefarious actions of others. Rather, we speak of a state of consciousness that silently and secretly acknowledges the true identity of all, no matter how little they may reflect it. It is a state of consciousness able to recognize that behind another's bluster, ignorance, or even violence there is a divine consciousness awaiting recognition. It is imperative not to leave yourselves out of this recognition, as powerful energies of light surface and expose global issues. They reveal personal ones as well. This is causing many serious students of truth to experience remorse, regret, and guilt as actions of the past are examined with new awareness. Leaving yourself out of oneness will keep you locked in duality. Never deny, resist, or try to hide from actions of the past, but rather acknowledge them as necessary parts of your learning experience. If there are actions of love you are guided to take with regard to some past action or words, then take the steps. But if this is not possible, bless the other with light, forgiving them as well as yourself, and then move on. Release the idea that evolution must be a struggle, one in which you must seek to continually overcome and resist the facets of yourself you do not like or consider to be unspiritual. Attempts to squash the ego represent old religious programming in which some things were considered spiritual and other things were not. Everything is spiritual, because there is nothing else. It is only limited awareness that judges them as separate. As you do the inner work, learning to recognize and accept the reality of who you and everyone else is, the shadows created by your old state of consciousness will automatically and without conscious effort simply drop away, because the only reality they ever had in the first place was that with which you ignorantly endowed them. Gather together the physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual shadow parts of yourself in a loving embrace of oneness and love. Once you are able to do this without struggle or resistance, you will find that others suffering from self-loathing are drawn to your energy of self-acceptance and love. You will be prepared to offer the light of your attained state of consciousness rather than sympathetic words. Because Earth is a planet of free will, everyone is free to ignore truth for as long as they wish or need to. Evolving in three-dimensional energy is about learning through experience, and there are many in need of more experiences before they will be ready for more. This is why there must be jails, rules, and laws in the third dimension. These things do not exist in the higher dimensions. Evolved individuals doing this type of work, police, military, lawyers, and leaders, can do whatever needs to be done, but will discover that if they silently and secretly work from levels of oneness love rather than from commonly accepted beliefs of separation, the situations will result in the highest good for all involved. Awake and spiritually evolved individuals are not afraid to speak their truth or to take necessary action when intuitively guided. Living unconditional love never means being the doormat of another, which in reality represents an absence of self-love. Rather, it is an individual who has reclaimed their innate power, integrated their masculine and feminine aspects, and is not afraid to step forward and stand for what they intuitively know is right from a position of love. Unconditional love is very different from the concepts of love that remain alive and well in third-dimensional thinking. Living from a place of unconditional love may occasionally take the form of allowing another to fall flat on their face rather than continuing to rescue them from their own creation. Earth is a school of experience in which you who are awake are becoming observers, lovingly allowing others to learn in whatever ways they need, while at the same time being available should they reach out for real help. Evolving through experiences over lifetimes is not for the faint-hearted, and has often been extremely difficult. However, as you learn to rest in God alone as power, every facet of living will begin to unfold harmoniously in ways that you could not have planned with third-dimensional thinking. As you let go of concepts of love based in ideas of separation, you make room for real love experiences that flow out from oneness. Love is the reality that underlies and connects all things, and is what those who thrive and benefit from separation do not wish you to know. Live truth and allow everything else to simply drop away. We, your Pleiadian friends and family on your starship, are very pleased when you, the Earthlings, as we call you on the ship, wish to communicate with us. We are also pleased when you tell others what you have learned from your nightly visits to our ships. Of course, some of your visits occur in your daytime, but only when you have expanded your consciousness into the higher fourth and fifth dimensional frequency of brainwaves. Yes, the brainwaves of many humans are limited to the third and fourth dimensions, as those frequencies of reality still have the element of time. Therefore, most of you cannot remember what is occurring within your fifth dimensional state of consciousness, as that state of consciousness is not bound by the time and space of your third dimensional perceptual field. Allow us to explain what the term perceptual field means to us. Your galactic family, which includes your own galactic self. We know that most of you are not yet familiar with your galactic self on the ship, as that information would make it quite uncomfortable to live via all the limitations of the third dimension. However, we must commend the many members of our Pleiadian starships that have volunteered to take an away mission to Gaia 3rd/4th dimensional planet. Gaia, the consciousness and soul of planet Earth, is very pleased to feel the higher energy fields of our fifth dimensional galactic essence on her planetary body. Once humanity's consciousness expands into the fifth dimensional frequency of resonance, you will begin to remember your experiences on the starships, as well as the many friends on your ship and on your homeworld. Of course, these memories are stored in the higher frequencies of your brain and within your multidimensional consciousness. In fact, these memories are stored within the fifth dimensional now, in which you have these experiences. It is for this reason that you have forgotten many of your interdimensional visits to the fifth dimension and beyond. The memories are stored in your human brain, but you will not be able to consciously perceive these memories until your brainwaves are resonating to the fifth dimension and beyond. In fact, you will remember your experiences while you are in deep meditation, having an interdimensional dream, and or having a peak experience in your daily life. It is important that only those who have access to these higher states of consciousness, as it is important that those who still resonate to the lower 3rd/4th dimensional need to have power over others. The need to have power over others is specific to the lower frequencies of the third dimension. These people are much like children who break their toys or have fights with their friends because they have not yet learned and or remembered their true fifth dimensional expression of consciousness. It is only through mastering one state of heart-mind fifth dimensional consciousness can one begin to remember their higher dimensional expressions of self, and the higher dimensional experiences of their own higher self. Yes, every one of you on Earth does have a higher dimensional expression of self. However, far too many of our volunteers to take an Earth body on Gaia become lost in the lies, emotions, fear, and anger of life on third dimensional Earth. Third dimensional Earth is exceptionally challenged within this now, as old karma from other ages is needing to be cleansed from Gaia. Therefore, some of the humans, and all the humans who are galactics in disguise, have volunteered to take an incarnation on one of Gaia's very darkest, dark night of her planetary soul. Yes, just as humans have a soul, the planet Gaia has a soul also. Just as the ascending ones have to face many challenges because of the dark ones who come like vultures to have power over others, so does Gaia have to face these challenges. You have seen the many weather problems, fires, and other natural disasters that seem to be occurring more frequently and creating more damage to Gaia than before. Of course, this is not the only time that Gaia has been greatly wounded. There were 2 world wars and the horrors of Chernobyl, in which great parts of Gaia planet was poisoned and made uninhabitable for humans. So many humans have forgotten that great disaster. They have pushed it away from their minds, their hearts, and from their responsibility. If humanity is to ascend into the higher dimensions with Gaia, they will need to take full responsibility for the harm they have caused in so many different ways. Fortunately, there are also many humans who deeply love Gaia and do everything they can to assist her. These humans realize that if Gaia dies, they will not have a place to live. Therefore, many of these destroyers believe that they can leave the places they have destroyed and go to other places that has not yet been destroyed. In fact, that is what humanity is doing now to Earth and to Mars. It is for this reason that Venus has decided to keep her planet uninhabitable to humanity. We are aware that some of you cannot believe that planets are living beings. Mostly they believe that Gaia is a thing so that they can damage her all they want, as she is just a thing. If humanity cannot find a way to change the selfish mind and heartless heart of the lost, Gaia will have a very difficult time healing her planetary self. Long ago, when humans were primitive, humanity believed that Earth was a living being, and all the plants, animals, water, sky, and components of the world they perceived was alive. In fact, they even believed that it was their responsibility to take care of planet Earth. Unfortunately, this primitive thinking has been replaced with the modern thinking that Gaia Earth is just a thing. In fact, they even believe that humans have more power than the being of Earth. They have not thought to wonder where they would live if they or even when they destroyed Earth. What have humans done to the Earth? In our few seconds of recorded history, we have managed to destroy the environment both directly and indirectly. Directly, we are responsible for environmental disasters including causing ecological trauma in the Gulf of Mexico dead zone, the Tennessee coal ash spill in 2008, the Al-Mashrak fire in 2003 and the ecocide in Vietnam in the 1960s and 1970s. The list could continue how our mistakes and intentional decisions have hurt the environment. Indirectly, using the word directly is generous in this context. We have been responsible for far worse, according to a study led by climate scientist Johnny Day at the National Center for Atmospheric Science at the University of Reading. The loss of Arctic sea ice is at the very least 70% man-made, and that just a low-ball estimate. The study shares that climate change could be up to 95% due to human-induced climate change. This research, published online in the journal Environmental Research Letters, stands apart from previous research which only attributes half the loss to man-made climate change and the other half to nature taking its course. What more, another study, which appeared in the journal PLOS One, found that Brazil's Amazon rainforest, which once was known for its biodiversity, is currently the poster child of extinction. The biologists found that numbers to be shocking. For instance, only 767 populations of mammals of 3,528 still existed. How can we confine the massive damage humanity has done in one half of a page? Humanity is destroying Earth and only humanity can stop it. However, we Pleiadians will not allow Gaia to be completely destroyed by humanity. Therefore, if humanity cannot heal the damage they have done, they will be moved to the lower astral planes, in which all the energy fields that they have sent out will return to them. Fortunately, there are still many humans who love and serve Gaia, who will continue to fight for Gaia planetary rights. Fortunately, there are still many humans who deeply love and fight for Gaia, because these humans are able to perceive Earth as a living being and fight for Gaia planetary rights. These humans are being taken to the ships in their night bodies where they can meet and intermingle with the fifth-dimensional expression of their multidimensional self. In fact, we are sending down more and more fifth-dimensional beings to assist Earth. Some of these fifth-dimensional take the form of angels, ascended beings, Elohim. However, these ones are only recognizable to those humans who have expanded their personal consciousness into the fifth-dimensional and beyond resonance. These beings are only perceivable to those who can expand their consciousness into the resonance of the fifth dimension, and they can only perceive them while their consciousness resonates to the fifth dimension. These are the humans who will serve to assist Gaia with her planetary ascension. Just like all the ascensions of all the ascended masters, humans can only perceive and or communicate with these beings when their consciousness resonates to the frequency of the fifth dimension. However, there is a manner in which more and more awakened humans are remembering how to calibrate and recalibrate their consciousness as many times as it takes to be able to receive the interdimensional messages, which are actually their orders from their fifth-dimensional homeworld and or fifth-dimensional starship. Fortunately, more and more of our volunteers to take a human form to assist Gaia are beginning to awaken to the core of their true self. As more and more of these awakened ones are able to remember the manner in which they promised to assist Gaia in the now of great transition, Gaia ascension into her innate fifth-dimensional self will begin. Of course, those who live for selfish, dark needs will try to stop those who are based on love and light. However, the darkness cannot see the light, whereas those of the light can identify those who resonate to the darkness. The last thing that we the galactic wishes to start is a war, as that would harm Gaia much more than heal her. However, as our fifth-dimensional warriors in third-dimensional bodies, remember that they are multidimensional beings who resonate to and are guided the flow of fifth-dimensional light. You, the interdimensional beings of light, will begin to awaken to your true multidimensional self who resonates higher frequencies of light within your physical core. As you begin to remember this higher frequency of the earth vessel you are wearing, you will begin to remember life on your starships and in your higher dimensional realities. Remember, dear ones, you do not need to change or heal. You only need to awaken to your true fifth-dimensional self. Once you have awakened to your fifth-dimensional essence, the healing and the transmuting into your fifth-dimensional self will follow the format that you chose before you took this embodiment. However, it is important to remember that all that you do comes through you, not from you. It is in the manner that you will be able to release the burden of your third-dimensional ego into the heart and mind of your multidimensional self. We are the members of your Pleiadian family. Call on us and we will answer.